Number 11. Sarah Oldham. In December of 2017, British couple Alex and Sarah Oldham were golfing at the Swano Golf Hotel near Belek on the southern coast of Turkey. The forecast was clear when they went out. However, about an hour and a half into the game, it started to rain. So Alex and 39-year-old Sarah each took shelter under an umbrella. The man turned around after hearing an almighty crack of thunder and saw that his wife was lying unconscious on the ground. Sarah had gone into cardiac arrest after being struck by a lightning bolt. Alex called for help and performed CPR on his wife until paramedics arrived at the golf course. After being treated at a hospital in Antalya, Sarah was flown on a private jet to Peterborough City Hospital in the UK. It was there that she passed away 12 days after the lightning bolt had struck her. Number 10. Rod Gurney. In the spring of 2021, Rod Gurney was taking part in a competition at the Port Arlington Golf Club on Australia's Bellarine Peninsula. As he was playing, 69-year-old Gurney was struck in the head with a golf ball. He was taken off the course into the clubhouse to be treated by paramedics, who took him home afterwards. Unfortunately, his condition worsened later that day and continued to deteriorate throughout the week. He ultimately passed away from head trauma. According to a statement released by his family, the father of 3 and grandfather of 5 died peacefully, surrounded by his loved ones. They held no ill will towards the club and expressed an understanding that such occurrences are possible during sport competitions. Number 9. Gene Siller. On July the 3rd of 2021 at 2:20 p.m., police officers were called to the Pine Tree Country Club in Kennesaw, Georgia, to a report of a shooting. They arrived to find the club's golf director, Gene Siller, who'd sustained a fatal gunshot wound near the course's 10th hole. Close to where his body was discovered, a white Ram 3500 pickup truck was parked over a slope. Inside of the vehicle were the bodies of 2 men, both of whom had been shot to death. One was Paul Pearson, the Ram's registered owner, while the other victim's name hasn't been released. The police didn't believe that 46-year-old Siller had been a target in the shooting. The primary hypothesis was that he'd witnessed an active crime taking place involving an unknown suspect and the 2 deceased males. He'd likely gone to investigate after the vehicle was driven on the green, at which point he was shot. The nature of the crime that he'd stumbled upon remains the subject of an ongoing investigation. Number 8. Joost Luiten. In May of 2020, Dutch golf pro Joost Luiten struck his girlfriend with a ball as he was practicing swings in accordance to pandemic social distancing guides. 34-year-old Luiten had recently won the BMW Indoor Invitational, was joking around with his caddy while his girlfriend, Melanie Jane Lancaster, was filming. The caddy would throw him the club from about 5 feet, and Luiten would try to catch it and hit the ball in a single motion. His attempt to master social distancing, as he would later describe it on his social media, saw him execute several swings before eventually skewing one and sending the ball flying into his partner. Lancaster screamed out in pain, but fortunately only suffered a bruise in the incident. Number 7. Celia Barquin Arazomina. In September of 2018, European golf champion Celia Barquin Arazomina was murdered in Iowa in a random and horrific act of violence. 22-year-old Barquin Arazomina, a native of Spain, was a member of the Iowa State University women's golf program. She'd become a prolific golfer during her time in the US while studying to get her degree in civil engineering. 2 months before her death, she'd won the European Ladies Amateur Championship and was named the Iowa State Female Athlete of the Year. Barquin Arazomina was found at the Coldwater Golf Links in Ames with stab wounds to her neck, head, and upper body after the police had been called to investigate an unattended golf bag. She'd been killed in broad daylight. A police dog tracked her scent to a homeless encampment and, subsequently, to 22-year-old Colin Richards. He had several scratches on his face, consistent with a fight, and tried to conceal a wound on his left hand as he was questioned by the police. An acquaintance of his revealed that he'd stated an intention of assaulting, abusing, and killing a woman. There was no prior connection between him and Barquin Arazomina, and the police report didn't mention if she'd been abused. Investigators also discovered that Richards had given 2 pairs of shorts with traces of blood on them and a knife to 2 other people after the attack. They'd planned to drive him out of town, but he'd returned to retrieve his tent. For the murder of Barquin Arazomina, Richards was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Number 6. Jacques van der Sant. 29-year-old golfer Jacques van der Sant was killed by a crocodile in 2014 while retrieving golf balls from a dam at South Africa's Kruger National Park. Van der Sant, a deep-sea diver, and a few of his friends were at Skukuza Golf Club, where the course is played over Lake Panic. After a game, they shared a few drinks, but Van der Sant wasn't reported as being intoxicated. At the 9th hole, he and another man challenged each other to see who could gather the most golf balls from the dam. Van der Sant's parents had worked at the park since 1992, so he was accustomed to the presence of wild animals, including crocodiles. However, after he and his friend had gone underwater a few times, one of the massive reptiles clamped its jaws on his body and dragged him away. Rangers were called to the course at around 10 p.m. In the early hours of the following morning, Van der Sant's lifeless body emerged with bite marks to the arms and upper body. Rangers subsequently killed the 12-foot-long crocodile, suspected of having ended his life. Number 5. Stefanie Martin. In June of 2021, a woman died in Holly Springs, North Carolina, in an accident involving a golf cart driven by her husband. 41-year-old Stefanie Martin and her husband Jeremy, aged 43, were driving home from a clubhouse party in the golf course community of 12 Oaks. They were on Morning Oaks Drive, near their home, when Stefanie somehow fell from the cart. By the time emergency crews arrived, she was already in critical condition. The mother of two was taken to a local hospital, where she later succumbed to her injuries. Jeremy was charged with driving while impaired and having an open alcohol container in the passenger area of the vehicle. The Holly Springs Police Department launched an investigation into the incident while awaiting the results of the toxicology report. Jeremy was released from jail and due to appear in court in early July. Chief Paul Lickery claimed that it was one of several golf cart incidents to have been reported that month. He added that the open-air vehicle can be just as dangerous as a regular car, especially if its occupants aren't wearing their seatbelts. Number 4. Craig Berry. In January of 2021, golfer Craig Berry was killed in a freak accident while at a course in Mollymook, Australia. Berry, who in the 1990s had founded an equipment supply business, would reportedly play at the Mollymook Golf Club every Thursday. The man, reported as being in his 50s, was joined by a few of his friends when their day out took a tragic turn. A large branch broke from a tree and fell on top of Berry, crushing him under its weight. One witness, who was playing 2 holes ahead of him, reported hearing the crash and then saw Berry's companions desperately struggling to revive him. Paramedics arrived at the scene and took over resuscitation efforts, but unfortunately, they were to no avail. He'd sustained a significant head injury and succumbed to traumatic cardiac arrest. Number 3. Eliza Buster. In 2017, PGA Tour star Tony Finau was on the 11th hole while playing in the Dean and DeLuca Invitational at Texas's Colonial Country Club. He sailed his shot 300 yards into the crowd, where it struck 25-year-old Eliza Buster directly in the head. She instantly started bleeding from the gash that the strike had left in her scalp. Finau went to her and apologized profusely before she was taken to the hospital for treatment. Luckily, her injuries weren't severe. A few hours later, after Buster had been released from her checkup and the golfer had finished his round, Finau went to her house. He brought her chocolates, flowers, and a get-well-soon card that said, "From your new favorite golfer." Finau told Buster that he'd also been hit in the head with a ball a few years prior and that he had to be hospitalized for 3 days. Today's topic was requested by Instagram follower Shrotty Chris. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below, or follow us on Instagram and reach out to us there. Number 2. Corinne Ramandy. On September the 28th of 2018, Corinne Ramandy was a spectator during the first round of the Ryder Cup at a Le Golf National Club near Paris. She'd traveled from Egypt, where she lived, to watch the tournament with her husband. A tee shot by 3-time major champion Brooks Koepka struck 49-year-old Ramandy directly in her right eye. It exploded on impact, and she suffered permanent loss of vision in it. Doctors would later tell her that had she been struck elsewhere on the head, she could have died. Ramandy remembered that people kept taking pictures of her, but that no one would help her, adding that she was almost trampled by a crowd as they rushed to see Tiger Woods play. Ramandy also claimed that officials hadn't announced the errant shot and that there weren't safety warnings around the course. Her claims were disputed by the organizers, She didn't blame Kopka, who upon being told of the situation said he was heartbroken by the incident, referring to the shot as the one he'd always regret. Number 1. Jayden Goldfinch Book. On February the 17th of 2018, a golfer sustained critical injuries after being hit in the head by an errant golf ball. The incident occurred as 27-year-old Jayden Goldfinch Book was at the second tee at Frankton Golf Course in Queenstown, New Zealand. He was standing next to a friend when he was hit. Goldfinch Book was rushed to a local intensive care unit and placed in an induced coma. He underwent surgery, but his head injury proved too severe and he didn't recover. Friends, who described him as a keen golfer and a great rugby player, organized a fundraiser to help his family. To learn more about tragedies in golf, we highly recommend checking out the movie Round of Your Life, an inspiring movie about a young golf prodigy whose dad sustains a car wreck and falls into a coma. He then undertakes a riveting journey to win the state title in honor of his father. It's available to rent on Amazon, and the link to it is available in the description below. Thanks for watching. Would you rather golf an 18-hole course during a lightning storm, or try to survive in the Amazon rainforest for a week with no supplies? Let us know in the comments section below.